everyone and happy Tuesday. It is time for the next part of our planner page from Johanna Basford's weekly planner and Lost Ocean, and using the Pablo pencils. Now I'm trying to make a little bit of a decision about the leaves. We've got leaves here, here and then along here. Now these ones are only outside. I want to make really bright and colourful, but I'm thinking maybe I'll do these ones in a green. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to grab the emerald green. I might do them all in the same green. Let's come in a bit closer. There we go. And I'm just going to start with doing these and then think about other aspects of the page after. I hope everyone's well today. I am just blocking these in. I've just it's, what is it, 11:10. Didn't get up that early. Washed my hair. Had a leisurely breakfast. It was rather nice. I'm just going to do all these ones. Then did some meditation and went for a walk. I needed some groceries. Unfortunately, I forgot one of the things I needed. Husband thought it was hilarious. I said, we don't need a list, we only need 2 things. And we forgot one of the things, even though we ended up buying about 6 things. You know how it is. So I've got to go back and get that at some point. We decided we'd go tomorrow because we're out in the car tomorrow and we can just pop in on our way back. So that was that. So yes, we went to get groceries, but we had a lovely walk. We walked to the supermarket along the canal and river. The canal path goes along the side of the river, one side canal, the other, most of the way, not all of the way. And then, because the river actually changes sides, it goes under the canal. It's quite funny. Then we walked back a slightly different way, the way my son's been taking me lately, which was along the back of the train line, which also runs parallel with the canal. In fact, it's the reason why they stopped using the canal was because of trains. I'm going to do this, here. And so that was nice. Then we came down the hill. It comes out up the hill a little bit. And then husband wanted to walk along the canal, along the back of our house. We don't actually back out onto the canal, but the houses in our street do. So we went a little way along, and then he decided it was getting a bit warm. I was trying to just encourage him to walk as far as he wanted because he needs to walk. I mean, we all need to walk, obviously. I mean, exercise is good for all of us, but he doesn't get a lot. So I was just sort of gently going, oh, should we go? Do you want to look at this and that? And, you know, so we did a little bit longer. So that was good. I was just paranoid then that I had forgotten something. There's a little insect on the desk. I just move it away. There we go. Probably came out of my hair or something. I was just paranoid that I'd forgotten either to put the lamp on, press record, put the microphone on, something like that, but actually it's all fine. No need to be paranoid at all. There we go. I'm colouring these leaves thinking that, you know, autumn colours soon. We've got a lot of berries come already. There was an article in the news this morning about how berries are already out. Has autumn come early? Is this a problem? And I didn't actually read it, so I'm not sure whether autumn has come early and whether it's a problem or not, but it's making me think about autumn colouring, certainly, which I have mentioned quite a bit before. So that's exciting for me. And I was going to grab out all my autumn books, but actually I didn't yet, and I was looking for something to colour for myself yesterday and this morning, and I found a picture in Seasons by Hannah Carlson that I fancied doing, but it isn't actually in the autumn section. I don't think it's not it's not a particularly seasonal picture. It's a lady's face. I just fancied having a go at a person picture. You know, I know they're quite scary for some people, but I've been practicing, and I've got more confident with them. And I was actually flicking through the book, and I found the one that I did where I coloured along to the Chris Cheng video, which took such a long time, but it was so lovely and worth it. And I tend to use some of the techniques that she used, but I tend to be a bit lazy and speed it up a little bit. And of course you can tell. But for me, it's a sort of bit of a compromise. So, but I've decided to use my Derwent Lightfast pencils because there's a lot of the right sort of tones, I feel, for the shade of skin that I wanted to do. The sort of skin tones, the sort of light colours that I thought would work. So I thought we'd give it a go, because I haven't really, I'm not sure I've used them for a face before. So I thought it would be a bit different for me, a bit of a challenge, but fun at the same time. And yeah, so that's probably what I'll do a little bit later on today, not on camera. I don't sort of, it would be unusual for me to try a brand new technique out on camera right away. But and I don't tend to do a lot of people pictures. I don't know whether this is something that appeals to my audience particularly. I think because a lot of you like Johanna Basford, she doesn't really do a lot of people pictures. So I think you enjoy the flowers and leaves and that sort of thing, animals rather than people. I get that impression anyway. But it's yeah, I'm trying to get a bit of a balance, doing a few different things for you, but I always try and have a sort of generally have a Johanna thing on the go, just because I know some of you that's all you like, and that's where I started. I wasn't interested in anybody else, only Johanna Basford. And then someone approached me and said, can I send you my book and for you to review? And so then I did that, and I think, I'm trying to think, I sort of got into Rita Berman, I think. It was my second, might have been Rita Berman. Now, having done that, I'm having a look at these buildings. I'm not very happy with how they aren't very neat, and I'm just going to recolour some of them. I'm trying to work out what colour's what. So this is the rose pink, but what colour is that? That's the scarlet. Is that the vermillion? Maybe I did it really lightly. But I want it a bit bolder, really, because I want this to look bright and bold. Oh, it's because I did it darker here. I wanted it to look a bit lighter in the building, but it just looks a bit messy. I'm just going to try and tidy it up a little bit. That's better. I'm much happier with that. And do the same in this one with the vermilion. Now, you may not need to do this because yours might look really nice. But I just feels a bit messy. I'm actually going over the green there. It's really, I mean, this was really hard to colour because of all the leaves in between. So now, putting another layer on top, it can just tidy up a little bit. There we go. I think the others aren't too bad. The yellow could do with a bit. This one. I think also maybe my eyes weren't at their best. I haven't done any colouring yet today, so my eyes are nice and happy, so that helps a bit. I can see better. Now with the Pablos, you can use the Caran d'Ache blender or any blender to make them a little bit smoother as well. I think the others are fine, just those. Maybe I was rushing a bit at the end or tired, I'm not sure. Now we have all these stones under here. This is going to be my next area of focus. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to take any notice of these patterns. I'm going to colour each one as if it's just one round shape, okay? Now I'm not going to do any of the emerald green because I used it for the plants along here at the top. So I'm actually going to start with the emerald green. And hang on a minute. Sorry, husband was calling me. So I'm going to just use the emerald on the larger ones here, so not too close to the ones that I've done up there. And I am just going to block them in. I want them to be quite solid, quite bright and cheery. So hopefully that'll work nicely. I'm just sort of spreading the colours along. Yeah. Can do one there, look. There's no greenery on that bit. I'm not going to overdo this green. We'll do more of the other colours. I'm going to work through them in some sort of order though. So this is the moss green and I'm going to use this one next. And we'll do a little bit more of this one. Just sort of trying to think about how many colours we're using and leaving enough space for what's there, but not too much space. It's a little bit tricky to plan out, but I find it much quicker and easier to do one colour than another colour, rather than trying to pick up a yellow, then an orange, then a red, then then a blue, whatever. I find that takes a really long time. It's much quicker to do all the one greens or then all the other greens and that sort of thing, which is why I'm doing it this way. And I know colouring shouldn't be about speed, but that's how my brain works. But also I think there's an efficiency to it which isn't necessarily about rushing, so that's okay. Yeah, we didn't see a lot of wildlife today. We saw a common white butterfly. I'm going to move to the yellow. This is the yellow, plain yellow, just called yellow, that I use for the windows, and I don't see any reason why I shouldn't just use it for this bit as well. I'm just going to use all the colours because you know, I picked out this limited bunch of colours. I'm going to use them all. Yeah, we saw some butterflies. One was quite brown. I don't know if it was a common brown or if it was something else. And we saw, I'm going to put some darker colours on there where I've accidentally, you could erase if you've gone over them, but I'm just going to put a darker colour on top. It should work out like that, okay. We saw quite a few moorhens though, which is nice. Usually they're hiding in the undergrowth, but because the water levels are so low, they can't really hide because the undergrowth is quite high, and you know, if they're in the water. So we saw quite a few, which was a delight. Squawking away, pigeons. But there wasn't that busy. Didn't even see many people. But I guess being Sunday morning, this is golden yellow. Maybe people were having a bit of a relax, a bit of a later start to their morning. I saw one person I see daily, but apart from that, saw some photographers. Asked them if they'd seen anything interesting, and they said no. I think they'd been up to the place where the otter is sometimes spotted, but they weren't. We didn't see the otter either. It's rare to see the otter. It's a delight. I think it wouldn't be so exciting if you saw it every day, you know. So it's quite nice that you don't, because you just feel really honoured when you see it. Okay, moving on to the orange. Now, you might be struggling to work out exactly which specific little stone that I'm colouring as I go through these. And it's worth bearing in mind that it doesn't really matter. The idea is that it's just spread out across, that you just spread your colours out. And so it doesn't matter if you've done it the same as me or slightly differently, because it's not going to make a big difference to it, so it's fine. And you might feel that this is a bit too fiddly and that you just want to colour this whole little lower section in one colour rather than lots of rainbow colours. In fact, the whole picture, you could do it very differently. You could do all the stones in the sort of brown, you could do all the buildings in one colour and all the edge bits in one colour, and you could end up with something that looks spectacular. I just was in the mood for brights, and that's why. And I've also done this page, as I said yesterday, quite a lot of times in quite a lot of different ways, so I wanted to just try something different for me. This is the vermilion, so that was partly my reasoning as well. Now I can go over that bit where I went over, because that is the vermilion. Yes, so lots of sort of different reasons for why I had done it this way. And of course you can, your page, your way, do it however you wish. There we go. I always do feel honoured when people you know, do choose to do it exactly the same as I have. But on the other hand, I always feel excited when you've sort of used what I've done as inspiration and gone your own way. I like that too. It means that you've, you know, put your own stamp on it, which is just as good, you know. So that's nice. I get equal pleasure from hearing about both. There we go. Now I think it's scarlet next. Yep, scarlet. Now I think I must have mentioned yesterday that I have comparison charts. So if you don't have these pencils, you can use the equivalent colours in other brands. If you don't have one of the brands that I've done a chart for, then you can ask me if I can do one. As long as I have the pencils, I'm very happy to do a chart, but I can't always do it, you know. Obviously, we've all got a limited supply of pencils. We don't have them all. As much as it would be lovely to have every coloured pencil set in existence, I don't think there's a house big enough to fit them all in. Mine certainly isn't. I've been trying to reduce the amount of stuff. And although I'm quite happy to increase my colouring arsenal, as people call it, I need to make room for more. So I am doing that. This is the rose pink. I've actually got a bag of items to take to charity shop next week. So yeah, I am reducing slowly. I found a lot of sort of things like rough notepads, you know, that I can use up, because I do use sort of scrappy paper for things. I have really nice precious notepads which I use for special things, but when I'm making rough notes, to-do lists, that sort of thing, then I need some scrappy notepads, if you know what I mean. And I found quite a few old ones that need using up. I found small ones which would be good for shopping lists, that sort of thing, and the small one that I actually been using for my to-do list. So it's very warm colour biased at the moment. We need to move into the pinks a bit more. This is the ruby red. This should add a little bit of a colder tint, although it is still quite reddish. We need to get some blues and purples in here. We'll get there. I'm not going to do a big one there. You've got so much pink and red going on. Just do this one. So yes, in the whole way of trying to make it look random, I fiddle around and tweak it. This is purple, so that it isn't random. I don't try not to put the same colours together. You know, it's contrived, but it's fine. Let's make this one purple. It seems to work. So. Now, unfortunately, because my husband called me and I had to stop the camera to answer him, I I've got no idea how long this video has been going on for. So I like to usually try and make them the same length within a series if I can, but I'm just not going to be able to because I just have no idea. So yeah, it'll be anyone's guess how long this. I think what I'll do is I'll just see when it comes to a natural conclusion and just finish it there, rather than or if I run out of words or something like that. I'm certainly not going to finish the page. There's a lot going on and I don't want to rush it. Here is the lilac. So yes, as I say, it's not going to be finished, that's for sure, by any stretch. Just try and make sure I'm not colouring on top of any yellow ones. I have a habit of doing that sometimes, that the lightest yellow colour I can't see, and I end up trying to colour over it with something, and if you colour over yellow with purple you get the oddest effect that you don't really want. I think there's less on this side. We've got quite a cluster of smaller ones there. Now we have the periwinkle blue. Oh, I can hear a child shouting. I like this colour. To me it's like a violet, not a blue, but you know. My son was saying to me how magenta is the colour name that seems to have the most different interpretations in his opinion. I could see what he meant. No, it wasn't magenta, it was it was that sort of teal, cyan, aqua colour. Apparently there is a cartoon character who's that colour, and people tend to just use the name of the cartoon character. I think it's a manga character, rather than trying to come to the right name for the colour, because it's so difficult, because it's such a hard one to pinpoint what colour it actually is, which quite fascinated me. Because is it turquoise, is it teal, is it aqua, is it light blue, green, you know. I like this, I think it was this sort of colour. That's I've got that one put aside for later. Here we have the royal blue. Yeah, that pencil is going to be my water colour later on. It's not a watercolour, by the way, it's going to be the colour of the water. I don't do watercolour very much. I was thinking this page itself would look really good in watercolours, where if you you know, put it all down in pencil and then just got your water and just sort of smudged it all a bit, it would look like more like it was underwater. But I would never be daring enough to try that, because you might end up completely ruining what you've done. But anyway, this is the gentian blue. Now this is our penultimate colour. Now of course, if you've got too many gaps left to fill, you could most definitely pick up a few of your other colours and go back to them, ones you've used before, or you can just try and fill everything in with your last couple of colours. It's completely up to you. It depends probably on how many spaces you've got left to fill up, and maybe what your favourite colour is too. You might end up putting a little bit more of your favourite one in there. That's okay, why not? I just think we should use our favourite colours as much as we want. Shouldn't worry about preserving them and not using our art. We should just have fun with them while we can. I can't work out quite what's going on there. Our last colour is the sapphire blue, and I'm going to try and fill in all the spaces. Now some of the spaces aren't supposed to be filled in. They're not circles, it's like there's a sort of backgroundy bit. So that's worth bearing in mind. I have left a lot. I think it'll be okay. There we go. Now up here and here. How are we doing for time? Feeling peckish. It's not even midday yet. Yeah, I think. Nope. I think I'm done. So we've got a very bright, colourful bit here. And the idea is what we're going to do a similar thing around the edge. And I'm going to keep it random. I don't want a rainbow order. You can. If that's what you like, absolutely go for a rainbow order. But that's not what I'm intending on doing today, you know. Now we have these fish. Let's see, are they all in shot? There we go. So we have these more pointy fish, and then we have these more rounded fish. And colours, well, because, let me see, I've got blue, green, purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 sets of colours, and there's 7 fish. So if I want to, I could make each fish a different colour. And I'm pondering that idea, where maybe I use the colours from this side on these fish, and then the colours from this side on these fish. The other idea is to put those 3 the same, and then these 3 for the same. But I think mixing the colours up is just going to match with the whole theme of the picture better. So I'm going to start with orange. Now my orangey yellow one is right in the middle here, so actually any fish could be that colour. I think actually I won't start with that. What I'll do is I'll work through. So I'm going to start with this one, which is the scarlet and the vermillion. Okay, and I'm going to do this fish right over here, so as far away as I can get. So I'm going to start with the vermilion and do the main body part. Now with the fish, I do like to try and make it a bit darker on the edges, but I don't know if I can achieve that with this little teeny one. And then the scarlet for the tail and the head. There we go, so that's our first one. Now we've got this green building. I'm just going to move my red pencils away. So I'm thinking, although that's quite close to green, so I might just go up here. Now we've got our stripes. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the moss green and do the main part of the body, the actual this bit, and I'm going to colour all of it with this. So I'm ignoring the stripes at the moment because I think if I try and colour around them, it's going to look even messier than it will if I don't. And then, there we go. And then when I use the emerald green, I will sharpen it and go over those stripes with a sharp point. Like that. And also use this for the fins and tail, which I'm sure you guessed. I'm just blocking those in. They're small and I want them to be bold. There we go. Now next building is this one. This is our ruby red and rose pink. So I'm going to do this one. It will clash here, but I mean it doesn't, I'm not worried about that. So I'm just sharpening up the ruby red. I'm going to do the opposite to what I did with this fish. So I'm going to make the ruby red, which is the lightest on the face, and the tail. And then the rose pink, which is, no, sorry, this is the lightest. I've got that wrong, never mind. I did do the lightest in the middle. Oh well, never mind. It is what it is. In our next building, we have this blue one. See, I'm thinking actually this one I'll do here, and then these three I can do over here. So I'm going to do the yellow and orange mixture. So this is the golden yellow. Here we go, golden yellow. And as with this one, I'm going to do it all over the main part of the fish, like that. And then the orange on the stripy bits and the fins and tail. So the rest, it doesn't really matter what order we do them in because they're all far away on that side. So I'm just grabbing my lilac and purple. So I'm going to start with the purple. And I think I'm going to do this fish up here. Just in the purple like that. Kept it quite light because I think it's a bit tricky. I'm just rearranging my pencils. And this is our lilac. And I'm just going to sharpen. Draw these back in. I've got this sort of gut feeling that today Johanna's going to do some flip throughs of her books. I don't know why, because she teased us yesterday. I think that's why I think that, but we'll see what happens. I was thinking maybe it's a weekend. This is the periwinkle blue when perhaps she doesn't have her girls and therefore she's got a little bit of time to do it for us. I don't know. This is royal blue, but we'll see what happens. Nothing yet, and I know she tends to be up early, but maybe thinking of doing, if she's thinking of doing a live gentian blue, then she will do it on at a time when Americans are up as well. I think, you know, that's what I tend to do when I do a video premiere. Sapphire blue, I haven't done one for ages. I tend to do it on a day, on an afternoon video when there's more chance the Americans are out of bed. Not that you stay in bed, I don't mean it like that, but you know, because of the time difference. Now, how are we doing for time? 22. Yeah, what I'm going to do next is start my background. So I'm going to use the azurite blue. Okay, it's a turquoisey blue colour. It needs to be kept sharp, and I'm going to do all the area behind the plants. Okay, so I'm going to start here, I think, and just put this in. Now I'm going to keep it the same density, is that the right word, thickness of pencil as I can until I actually leave the area of the plant. So I'm not going to start fading it or anything, because I've got other colours to fade it into when we get out more. But while we're struggling around all these little details, then I think it's better to not worry about that. So all the way to the edge here, just don't worry about it, just keep it the same-ish thickness of colour, and it's not going to be perfectly even, but do your best. That's all you can do. Make sure you have fun. Now if you don't want to do a background on this page, then this bit isn't going to be something that you're going to be having a go at, but it is a little fiddly getting around all these bits and bobs. And of course we will be colouring in these plants as well in our sort of rainbow theme a bit later. You could use a soft pastel for the background, but getting in between all these plants, you would have to make the decision that you were going to put it right over the top and not worry about getting in between them. And that will mean you would mute all your bright colours by going over it with a pastel, and you might also smudge them when you're smudging your pastel. Now I think that could look really good, but again it just wasn't part of my plan for this page. But I think if you smudged it all a bit and, you know, maybe put some white in there, white pen in there to make it look even more watery and bubbly and things like that, I think it could look really good. So there are options for, you know, taking it that little bit further. Now we're not going to finish all this background in today's video. I just felt like I wanted to make a bit of a start on it today, and then continue it in another video. I had toyed with the idea of giving it you for homework, but I think it's probably more motivating if you're watching me do it at the same time. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But husband's been in a really lovely mood this weekend. It's been nice. He had a few health scares and he's had the all clear, and it's just made him feel so happy. He's suddenly sort of stepped out of that zone of inner pondering and just not really opening up. He did tell me he was concerned, but there wasn't really very much I could say until we knew. You know, I wanted to say, well, the odds are really low of it being anything, you know, that sort of thing, but I don't know if it would have reassured him very much. So, but now he knows everything's come back normal, so that's nice. And although he still has a symptom that needs to be treated, it's fine, you know, it can be treated. That's the main thing. So it's great. So yes, he's happy. He's also been doing a few meditations from the mindfulness course that I'm doing, rather than following the course right through, which I think would be difficult for him at this stage. And I said to him, you know, I don't think you could commit to the amount of meditation that's required daily. He's found one that he likes, and he's just doing that one, and it's still bringing him a feeling of calm, which I think is really good. And he said actually he was doing it in the car, which scares me to some extent, but the one that he does is a body scan, and you don't need your eyes shut. It's, you know, but it makes him feel calm without making him fall asleep. And also he doesn't shut his eyes while he's doing it or anything like that. I do worry still, but anyway. And he said he was listening to it, and he'd gone through some traffic lights, and basically the traffic lights, the road is two-way, but there isn't room for two-way traffic. So the traffic lights let one way of traffic through, and then the other way of traffic through. But he was going through a particularly narrow bit, and there was a cyclist coming the other way who just completely ignored the, you know, the requirements, I suppose, of the road. So, you know, and he said rather than having a panic attack and, you know, getting really angry, the cyclist was swearing at him and all sorts of things. But he just dealt with it in a much calmer manner. So that was very reassuring. I was pleased with that. So hopefully he can continue to use that. So this looks like a bit of a background. I quite like it being dark. Hopefully it'll form a good basis for all our colours to pop out from. Obviously if it was black it would be even better for popping colour, but that wouldn't work for the fact that it's water. I thought this colour was quite nice for water, and I decided to use more of a bluey tone rather than a greeny tone because, well, greeny tones can sometimes look a bit swamp-like, which I think can be really fun, but not what I was trying to go for in this particular picture. But also with the amount of green greenery here, I thought it would be better to steer away from that a little bit. Yes, we do have blue here as well, but I thought it would work. So hopefully it will. There we go. Now I'm just going to get to the end of this bit today, I think, because we've done quite a lot, haven't we? And then I'm actually going to have a break for lunch. It's a bit early, but there's not enough time to start another video and then come back. Now I don't know how long this series is going to end up being. It may be 4 videos because it's quite a lot to do. But let me just sharpen for this corner. We'll have to see how long it takes. So I don't want to rush, but I'm trying to make it not too complex, but there is a lot going on in the picture. And as I said before, I just had this little plan of how I wanted to do it. I'm just trying to check if I did that on the other side, but I did. So yeah, I hope you all have an enjoyable Tuesday. I don't know what I do on Tuesdays really. Oh, it's the day that my son and husband go to work, and my other son's home at the moment, so sometimes he is happy to go out for a walk with me, sometimes not. Depends what time I go, how hot it is, and whether he's walked the day before or not, so we'll see. And yeah, also whether he's got editing to do. He hasn't released a video for ages, but he's waiting for an event to take place and he's got to get other people organised for it, and it's quite difficult to get enough people together to do it at the time he wants. Oh well, it's not he wants, you know, to get everyone free at the same time. It's quite tricky, so I think he's trying to organise it for, I think, a Saturday night. But I feel that he ought to just release a video. But anyway, it's up to him. So he'll be live streaming this afternoon though. So he does his lives. It's just the videos that have taken a bit of a backseat, and they will once he starts uni. So, right, I know I haven't done this sort of edge bit. I haven't done it. I've done this gap. I'll just do this bit. I'm going to finish the rest in the next video, and I've got to decide whether to go up here or not, or leave this bit. I haven't quite decided how to bring in my next colour yet, so we'll see. We'll do that next time, but I'll just finish this tiny bit. So yeah, it really is a whip this time. I don't normally leave something this sort of partly coloured, but time has gone by, and as I say, it's nearly lunchtime, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Move the pencils out of the way. It doesn't feel like we've done very much, but anyway, there we go. So I'll leave that pencil there to remind me that when I come back, that's where I was at. So we'll continue with this border, and then yeah, we've got to do the in a bit and all the leaves. As I say, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we'll see. But thank you for watching today. I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day, and happy colouring.